Paula P Works here, coming at you once again with not a theory or a manga chapter review thing, but we got some anime news. Okay, so apparently, as announced at the second day of Jump Festa 2024, One Piece will be getting another anime adaptation. So, this anime adaptation will be starting from the East Blue and will be premiering exclusively on Netflix. I wonder if the actors from the dub are going to be involved in this too. No news on that just yet. But what's super exciting about it is that it's going to be covered by WIT Studio, the guys who are responsible for Spy X Family and the first 3 seasons of Attack on Titan. So I remember the first season of Attack on Titan. That was pretty slick. From what's being said here, it's seeming like we're going from the East Blue, we're going to keep on going. So that's really interesting to me. And I wonder now, since it's exclusively on Netflix, I wonder if that's a deal Netflix pushed for because of the renowned explosive success of the One Piece live adaptation. All we got now for the new One Piece adaptation is that the anime has a little poster and it's called the One Piece. And unlike the live action One Piece adaptation, the eye is Luffy, which I like. I don't know why they changed it with the live action. That's just weird to me. But yeah, One Piece will be getting a new anime adaptation. And we don't know when it's actually going to premiere because it's just been announced. But what we do know what's coming in January is the anime adaptation of Monsters, which is also going to be on Netflix. It's in January of 2024, and it's entitled Monsters 103 Mercies Dragon Damnation. So that's cool, and that covers the story of Monsters with Ryuma and Serrano and the big dragon. What's not so cool about that one in particular is that from the poster that we have, this don't look like One Piece. This looks like something else. I don't know what it looks like. It don't look like One Piece though, which is concerning to me, because if it's not One Piece, what is it? It just looks like an anime, which I don't think is the actual point if this is serving as a sort of look into what Ryuma was doing during his age. It kind of defeats the point for me, because this is probably going to be kind of lore important. So the presentation of it does matter, and it having these thin lines and not the thick lines that One Piece usually has, it's kind of weird. I don't know if it strikes anyone else as weird, but it strikes me as weird. But hey, if it's good, it's good. We'll see what happens. And we got a video coming up soon about this dragon, because I think the depiction of the dragon is very interesting and very reminiscent of something that we've seen already. So that's what we got now. What the One Piece anime adaptation reminds me of, though, just from how it's being presented, it's kind of like a long variant of those little anime specials that we get that are like episodes of this character, which basically covers an arc, or it's like an episode of the arc, so an episode of Skypiea, in which things are like condensed into, I think, a 90-minute episode. Because recently I watched the Skypiea one because it's on Netflix, and that covers the entire Skypiea arc. So from Cricket and Jaya, they cut out Bellamy, and then they go up the Knockup Stream, they go through the adventures of Skypiea, they fight Enel's priest, and then they fight Enel. But a lot of things are cut out, of course. I don't think that's going to be the case here. I think we're going to get like a high budget version of the East Blue with no filler. That's what it's looking like to me. Probably, most likely, some things are going to be revised, because it doesn't say Oda is specifically in this production. Like, he doesn't have like a hands-on approach with it. It doesn't seem that way, but he probably most likely has something to do with it, unless I'm missing something in this article here from Netflix's website. But what's interesting about all this is that if they revise some things, I wonder what they would change. What I hope that they do, which the original anime does not do, which I found out very recently, is that the original anime does not start off with Luffy punching the Lord of the Coast in the face. I did not know that. All these years, I just completely forgot about that. And then I know there is a scene with Kobe with a boat that he was going to make his getaway on. That's in the manga, but it's not in the anime. So perhaps that will be in this adaptation of One Piece, of One Piece's anime. But we'll have to wait and see. I like the starting poster though, with Luffy standing on a hilltop with a little windmill, representative of Fuchsia Village where he grew up, which is really, really cool. But yeah, I wonder what they would do, because I'm trying to think in the East Blue. And if they're starting from the East Blue, that means what? Like the start of Luffy's adventure, presumably all the way up to Logtown. And I find it very interesting, I'll just say this, that we're getting the monster adaptation, which I think the monster adaptation is just like a movie type sort of setup. I don't think that's going to be like several episodes. At least that's not what it's coming off as. Yeah, it's just going to be the story of Ryuma as told in Monsters, because Monsters itself is not long at all. So, but it's interesting that that's happening before this, because of course, you know, Monkey D. Dragon shows up at the end of the East Blue saga. So I don't know. I just find that very interesting that we're getting that adaptation, and then we're going to get a total reboot of the One Piece anime, basically. I kind of am excited for what's down the pipe, though, like when they get to the Grand Line and such, because things like Drum and Little Garden are probably going to be really sick, like more of the high action arcs, or Alabasta, all the fights with Crocodile and such. It's going to be interesting to see all of that animated in a more cinematic style. And we don't know yet, but if they go like beat for beat from the manga, that'll also be very interesting too, without the anime's pacing. And this is also good because I know for years now there's been a project called One Piece that's been out that sort of cuts all the fat out of the original anime. So this might be taking the place of One Piece, or has a One Piece approach in which they follow the manga beat for beat and present it in a very high budget way. So yeah, exciting stuff for One Piece. The One Piece live action adaptation did good things, I gotta tell you. I am not its biggest fan, obviously, from all the videos I have made, but I'm glad about the effect that it has had on the franchise. And this is good too, because it's going to give people a reasonable way to catch up on the actual anime without actually plunging in to like an anime that's like almost it's over 20 years old now, right? It gives the anime now a new sort of coat of paint, which will bring new people in, which will bring more fans in and more interest. What's interesting too about this is that I don't think Dragon Ball ever got this, which is a weird thing to think about. Like, I don't think there's a like total reboot of the original Dragon Ball anime. I don't think there is, which is weird, right? Because you would think at all this time that would happen, unless this is something I don't know about. But yeah, so I'm glad One Piece is getting it, because the East Blue, when presented in an interesting way, which I have to concede the live action does do for a lot of people, so hey, it did its job. But when the East Blue is presented in a interesting way, it is captivating. I think the problem with the original anime adaptation is that it is a little slow, and it does kind of kick into high gear, I would say, around Sanji's arc, because Don Krieg stuff is kind of interesting, and then Mihawk shows up and yada yada yada. And of course you get into Arlong, and then Logtown is kind of jam-packed with stuff because Bucky's there, Alvida's there, Smoke is there, Dragon shows up. So it's a little slow at the start, but it really does pick up around the middle. But maybe with this new anime adaptation, they'll have better pacing and they'll be able to keep the audience interest throughout, which will then promote interest in doing more anime adaptations of the rest of the story. which will be really cool, which I really want them to do, because I want to see like a revitalized Drum, a revitalized Skypiea, a revitalized Little Garden, because Little Garden is one of those ones that kind of get ignored a lot, which is interesting because it's going to be kind of pivotal. Because what I didn't really consider is that Little Garden is an introduction to a lot of like world building stuff, because from Little Garden we understand that dinosaurs are creatures in the One Piece world and giants exist. That's our introduction to giants and our introduction to some interesting dough fruits like the wax fruit, and really the wax fruit. The wax fruit is crazy. So yeah, and then we get, of course, Sandy's espionage really coming into bloom during that arc. So yeah, Little Garden's important, and I can't wait for them to get to it. And then, of course, when you loop back around to Wano, things are gonna get crazy, dog. even like the time skip as a whole, the two big ones that are going to be really exciting down the pipe are going to be Whole Cake and I think Wano. And maybe this too will help out arcs that are really kind of painful to get through, especially in the anime. Dressrosa and then Fishman Island are a slog, I will say that, and that's unfortunate, but it's true. They just kind of go on forever, which is a shame because there's a lot of good stuff, especially in Dressrosa. I love all the Grand Fleet guys. They're all great. I love Doflamingo. I love Gear 4th. All those things are fantastic. But man, the getting there is crazy. Also, Dressrosa, another kind of big world building arc, because they introduce us to the Tontada, which are the dwarves that were a lie way back in the Syrup Village arc that Usopp told, which is crazy too, because then that compounds onto Noland, which is great. Oh, I can't wait for Noland. Oh, I forgot about Noland. Oh, I can't wait for them to get to Skypiea and show us Noland again. But you know what's crazy about that episode of Skypiea thing? They don't reanimate the Nolan bits, and I didn't know that. I knew this existed, I just hadn't watched it yet. But then I watched it, and then they didn't animate Calgara or any of that stuff, which is a shame, because that's the best part of Skypiea. That's terrible. But yeah, that's what it is. But I hope when they get to that part eventually, because with this sort of new repackaging of the East Blue arc, it's going to blow up. Just how like the live action adaptation blew up on Netflix. This is going to be successful because it's going to be presented in a very cinematic way. So I can't wait for this to be put into the works, and then we get like a season 2 with the sort of grand line. Oh, Laboon, we gotta get to Laboon. Then and Whiskey Peak is a thing. Oh, Whiskey Peak's gonna be cool. If you don't know anything about Whiskey Peak, Whiskey Peak is fire. Can't wait for that to be reanimated with Zoro fighting the 100 bounty hunters of Whiskey Peak. That's fire. Oh man, yeah, and Drum and fantastic. And then of course, like I said before, Alabasta. Thriller Bark is going to be cool too, because I feel like Thriller Bark gets nothing, because there's no episode of Thriller Bark as far as I know, which is crazy, because I think the last arc that got a sort of big reanimation thing was Ennis Lobby, which was probably like, see, I haven't watched this, I don't know. I think it's Ennis Lobby mixed in with Water 7, because the two kind of do go hand in hand. Events from Water 7 do just spill into Ennis Lobby. But yeah, that was the last arc that got anything like that. So I would love for that to be reanimated as well, especially Ennis Lobby. The fight scenes, bruh, those reanimated and like shot in a more sort of respectful way that's more coherent to the manga, and it's not like condensed into like a 90-minute thing. That'd be crazy. That'd be insane. So even like the Adventures of Water 7 are great, because I love Water 7. It's a beautiful city. Well, it's a beautiful island city, but you get what I mean. Yeah, I'm excited. This is a great development. I just thought about something. Imagine all of Frankie's moves with the intricate detail of what is shown when the ODM gear is animated in Attack on Titan. That would be straight fire, bro. Oh, I mean, literally because of fresh fire, but bruh. Woo! I can't wait. This is going to be hype. It's going to be great. Good stuff. And with that, that's all I have for you today. Super excited for what's to come. But yeah, give me your thoughts on this.